what happened to Picard? What happened to Admiral Picard? He got turned into a zombie robot and then went back to 2024 and then got ran over by an ancient ancestor of Data in his car. Yeah, that's all that happened.
Man, I feel really bad right now. Oh my god, I'm so paranoid about stuff. I wish someone would help me. Preferably someone from the future. I find that when I'm upset about stuff, I just try to talk about something else to get my mind off it. Why don't you tell me about that ship up there? Look at that thing. Tell me about that ship. I'm sorry, I don't actually know anything about that ship, so can't really help you there. So I'm still feeling bad though. Okay, well maybe this strange toy here will help you feel better. Check this out. Guess what, everyone? 2 in the bush is worth 1 in the hand. This episode is called 2 of 1. I'm not sure if any of that made sense, and I'm not sure if the name of this episode makes sense, but it's called 2 of 1. It includes 7 of 9, but, interestingly, 7 of 9, I counted it, had about 2 lines in this entire episode. In fact, when I first watched this episode, I got to the end of it and I asked myself, wait, did 7 say anything in this episode? I literally thought she had no lines. And I went back and rewatched it looking for her to say anything. She said 2 things in this entire episode. Go back and check if you don't believe me. Which I thought was very strange, especially because in an episode like this, and in a show like this, anybody's line can be given to anybody. Raffi's line can be given to Rio. 7's line can be given to Picard. None of it really matters, because nobody really has any personality, it seems. At first glance, it looks like they do, but then you realize you can't really describe anybody. And I've noticed this when characters began to act in ways that I could not predict at all, because they weren't really characters. Who is Raffi? At one moment, she's calm and calculating, and does a cost-benefit analysis in her mind to determine the risk associated with doing something. And then at the very next scene, she's breaking into a cop car in order to effect a stealing of the car, where she may or may not kill somebody in a chase. Welcome to Star Trek Picard. I don't know why some characters completely act out of character in one scene from the next. I don't know why every line just seems like it was written just because they thought it would be fun, and it didn't matter who said it. Such is Picard, such is Kurtzman Trek. So, with that out of the way, let's dig down deep into this boring, but otherwise plot-relevant episode. 2 of 1. Not 7 of 9, 2 of 1. And 7 of 9 had 2 lines. 7 of 9 with 2. Let's see what this is about. This episode was bad, but not quite as bad as the last one. I'd certainly take it over episode 4. It's almost on the level of episode 5, but I'd say it's slightly better. And I say that because things happen in this plot that are necessary to move the plot along. This is one of those episodes where it doesn't really feel like it's treading water. Something conclusive happens. We end up in a different spot than we were at the beginning. Very important. Story writing 101. Shouldn't have to explain that, but sometimes in these last few Star Trek shows, we end up at the exact same place we started. Oh my gosh, we need to go after Book, was the ending of 3 different Star Trek Discovery episodes. This episode ends differently than it began. We're at that party, if you remember from last episode. We need to sneak into this party, and where we left off, Girardi had got caught on purpose, just like Khan in Star Trek Into Darkness. Remember that? I got caught on purpose. And oh yeah, we had to trick somebody into blowing up someplace, and I offered them a cure for their daughter's illness in order to get them to do it. Oh yeah, that's right. Khan offered somebody a cure for their daughter's disease in return for something. And now Q, okay, yeah, so if I carry the 1, okay, subtract 2, okay, common denominator, okay, yeah. Okay, so Q is like Khan, and he's offering a cure to, in this case, Sung's daughter. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's almost like Kurtzman is a through line between Kelvin Timeline JJ Trek and current Trek. It's almost like he's been messing it up for longer than we thought. It's almost like that. I wouldn't say that. I'd never say that. But it's almost like that. Take from that what you will. What I'm taking from it is this episode is a mess. Okay? This episode is told in, what is it, anachronistic way? I think that's the word. I'm not a dictionary, I'm an engineer. Okay? I don't know stuff about language very much, but I do know that an otherwise very bland and tasteless episode was made seemingly more interesting. If you're stupid, it would be more interesting for you because they told it in a way where it starts with Picard dying, spoilers, dying, and then stops and says 35 minutes before this, or 35 minutes previously, and you're immediately awoken to the fact that, holy crap, this episode is like 35 minutes. I'm getting ripped off here. I hope you're not paying for it. I certainly am. And I'm getting a 10-episode season with 40 to 35 minute long episodes. Come on, guys. And to boot, it's set basically in the ancient past, where effects are cheap. Let's leave it at that. I'm feeling ripped off. So Picard's dying at the beginning, but we go back in time. Again, the theme of this season is going back in time. Not everything is going perfectly at this party. Jurati has successfully hacked the security system to get Seven, Raffi, and Rios in, and Picard as well. So they're whining and dining at this party. I wonder what Picard thinks of the drinks. He's a bit of a sommelier in his own right, wouldn't he be? He'd be able to taste that drink and say, this is vintage 1982. Which I guess wouldn't be that old at that time. But he doesn't have anything to say about the liquor, which is weird. But Rios has something to say about the cigars. He gets a cigar off one of the trays and he's like, look, it's real. It's real. Was the one at the beginning now confirmed fake? Go back to my review of the first episode. I was wondering if it was a real cigar or not. And then I was wondering, wait, why would it be fake? And then I remembered, oh my gosh, they didn't show him lighting it. So if it was real and they didn't show him lighting it, were they censoring the real cigar? But now we've realized it was fake because he thinks this one's real. So there was no reason to hide the flame of the cigar. There was no reason to show him not smoking it in the first episode. Go back and watch the first one. He doesn't really smoke it. So I thought it was real. But now it sounds like it's fake. Which is it? And on top of that, you gotta have a pretty good taste palate, pretty experienced palate, in my opinion, to tell the difference between fake and real on these ships. I mean, this is an older ship from the Stargazer refit, and I see people all the time acting like they can tell the difference between the protein resequenced food and real food, and I think they're pulling my leg. I think they're trying to sound smarter than they really are, but apparently Rios knows the difference. Rios says, you take something off a tray, and the food's so good. No, it's not really. No, it's not, Rios. You liar. You liar. I think you're lying. You're tricking me. The food is good. In the 25th century, I believe we just rolled over on the 2400 in the show, in the correct time frame. So no, Rios.
maybe the smokes aren't better and the food isn't better, and no, this timeline isn't better. So quit it. Okay. And drugs are bad. Smokes are a drug. Drugs are bad, Rios. Shouldn't do it. But the captain can maybe have some real alcohol stashed away somewhere, just for special occasions. Not my captain. Girardi's caught on purpose, and oh my gosh, the Borg Queen is like a devil on her shoulder. You remember the old imagery of an angel on one shoulder and a demon or a devil character on the other? They're pulling you both ways. Same as this, except now it's just the devil. And the devil is the Borg Queen. And the Borg Queen is essentially Girardi. But because we artificially weakened the Borg Queen, now the Borg Queen, in order to fully, quote-unquote, assimilate Girardi's mind, it takes time. She needs extra help. She needs her hormonic levels in her body, or hormonal, I guess you should say, to get to a certain place for her to take full control, which gives us an excuse to waste time in the story. So we're wasting our time. Girardi sings a song just to distract people, and I was like, I didn't watch the song. I just skipped past it. I just can't. There's some things I can take in Star Trek, and one of them is people singing like contemporary music. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really dig it. It's not my thing. If that's your thing and you thought the performance was good, that's fantastic. I'm more of a Faith of the Heart guy, but you can enjoy whatever was in this. Well, we're all thoroughly distracted from the task at hand, and Picard sneaks off because, holy crap, he was seen by Sung. Dr. Sung is there. And my favorite scene in this episode is when Picard gets caught by Sung, and Sung is like, Picard! And he just straight up calls him Picard, and then Picard is shocked. Somebody knows my name. Uh-oh, I've been found out. Holy crap, what is this? You've been sent by Q, and we have a little discussion about Q. Q isn't who you think he is. He's a bad guy. And I was just thinking, well, wait a minute. Sung is here to make sure this mission doesn't go through with Rene Picard on it. Okay. Q knows that his powers are now limited. Q brought Picard to this alternate past, this alternate timeline, as it were. How do we know Q isn't trying to fix the timeline to make it what it should be? Q isn't evil. Would Q actually just leave this timeline go the way it's going now? What if we're the bad guys here? Did we ask Q? Why did Q not talk to Picard yet and just say, listen, this whole stuff with Rene Picard, that can't be allowed to go through. Guess what? It sounds crazy, but when she finds that molecule on Europa, that's what causes the bad future, buddy. Sorry. So in this timeline, I can't let her go. And then Picard would go, understandable. How do we know Q's motivation? Again, assumptions. Ask yourself, how do we know Q isn't trying to fix the timeline? If you don't know, there's no way Picard and co know. There's no way they could know. So how do we know when Sung interrupts this party to try to get Picard kicked out because Sung is a major donor to the Europa mission, regardless of the fact that he's been publicly defamed and excised from the scientific community for illegal genetic research? Forget about all that. He is a top donor to the Europa mission and can therefore kick Picard out. So he can better get at Rene Picard and just tell her not to go on this mission for such and such reasons. How do we know? I don't know. Our villain and our hero haven't shared a scene together since they first arrived in this timeline. Does Q know what Picard's trying to do? No. Does Picard know what Q's trying to do? No. By the way, this is an alternate timeline, confirmed in the dialogue. Are we supposed to change this timeline? It's not our timeline. What if it doesn't work like our timeline did? In our quote-unquote correct timeline, we know Renee Picard was supposed to find this molecule. What if in this timeline she's not supposed to? How do you know? He brings this up with Talon, who was the supervisor character, you remember. She says, listen, I've been looking after Renee for 24 years. We can't interfere. Remember, the rules are no contact. And then Picard just comes up with some bullshit line. Oh, it's just like, what if you're scared about something? I don't know, some Kurtzman thing. And then Talon says, oh, okay. You know, yeah, you're right. Let's break 24 years of work to interrupt Renee. Let's just go against my superiors. It doesn't matter. I just met you, and this is crazy. So, here's my phone. Let's interrupt Renee Picard. And that's crazy. Okay? So, Picard, pretending to be a security guard, goes to talk to Renee, and this is like, you know what? Who cares about time travel stuff? Let's just go talk to my ancestor or whatever. And they look up, and they're at this gala, right? And of course, you can see the Nomad probe. No spoilers for TOS, but it's from TOS. And you can also see the OV-165 shuttle, who you may remember from the intro to Star Trek Enterprise. And in order to calm somebody down, this is one thing you can do. You can ask them about, you know, something, and just ask, could you describe something to me? Just, you take them out of their zone of chaos, and you bring them into the realm of normalcy by finding an anchor point. So her anchor point would be something about the spacecraft that's hanging above them between Picard and Picard. OV-165 shuttle, why don't you describe that ship to me? And I'm like, yes! Let's go! We don't know anything about the OV-165 shuttle. Let's go! Tell me something about it, please! And she says, well, I used to call it Spike because it has an Aerospike engine. Yeah, we know that. I could tell by looking at it. I wanted to know about the crew complement, where it went, what its mission was, you know, how fast it could go, you know, something like that. But no, we just know it has Aerospike engines, which you could tell by the design. So that's fantastic, guys. Way to go. So thanks for nothing, Renee. Anyway, Renee and Jean-Luc have a conversation. I think I know you. You're just like someone I met. Dude, you're just like... Are you my ancestor? Wouldn't that be funny? You remind me of someone I know. Yeah. Yeah, no. We're separated by hundreds of years. Are you really going to be reminded of your own family by looking at your great-great-great-great-grand aunt or something? Like, come on, like, this isn't a cartoon. Like, that's not, no. I mean, and again, in this episode, Laris and Picard are talking, and Picard says, you just remind me of that Laris, but I know she's a Romulan and you're a human from 2024, so there couldn't be any relation. Wrong! You don't know that the human Talon didn't use her supervisor privileges to go to a different planet and marry some Romulan? You don't know. That can happen. You know, maybe Talon's granddaughter met a Romulan during the Romulan War. I don't know. You don't know. It is possible for them to be related. Use your Star Trek brain here, people. Use the Star Trek brain, and also use your indoor voice to be quiet. But not really. Many times in this episode, a character will say, you know what? There it is again. You're lying. You're doing that thing with your ear. You're pulling your ear. That's how I know something bad's about to happen. Or you're doing that thing with your eyebrow again. That's how I know that you're about to lie. You do that little thing with your voice. That's how I know you're lying. Laris Talon, says that to Picard. It happens, like, I swear to you, 4 times this episode. And I'm thinking, what are we trying to establish here? Watch Picard Season 1. Okay. Riker says something to Soji, and he says, oh, you're doing that thing with your head like Data did. Haha, that's how I know you're related to Data. And then in this episode, Picard does something and Talon says, that's how I know you're lying. By something, a little involuntary tick on the face region, or voice. Girardi says this to Rios, that's how I know that when you do that thing with your eyebrow, that's how I know you're lying. Talon says it about Renee, and how when she grabs her ear, she's about to go crazy. And then it happens at some other point in this episode. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think I saw it somewhere in this episode. It could have been when Raffi was talking about 7 of 9. Because she shares an awful scene with Rios where Raffi is talking about how happy 7 looks like to be in the past. And then Rios says, like, yeah, it's great. I mean, no Borg implants. He lost all that emotional baggage that she got from Kurtzman. And they're all happy about it. And then I shit you not, Rios kisses Raffi on the head like you would your 10-year-old daughter. It's the most demeaning thing. I can't understand why they thought that was cool. But honest to God, the captain of the Stargazer kisses Raffi on the head. That's something that they wrote and put in this episode. Someone did that, and it got into the show. It got okayed by enough people to get into the show. Imagine if I don't know, Janeway kissed Tom Paris on the forehead. I actually did laugh out loud. But back to the point. Sung is there to stop Renee, but he can't stop Renee, and he accidentally kills Picard. And he runs him over with a car. Holy crap. What happened to Picard? What happened to Admiral Picard? He got turned into a zombie robot and then went back to 2024 and then got ran over by an ancient ancestor of Data in his car. Yeah, that's all that happened. Oh, and then he fell off a bridge and then the bridge fell on him and then he got buried in rocks. No, that didn't happen, but that's a different show / movie. Picard's robot body ends up dead. I don't know what. I don't know. Data is practically indestructible. He gets recreated with the Sung method, which, by the way, nobody can really fix easily. Sung androids are rare and complicated, and they are positronic, which, if you don't know what that means, it means they're rare and complicated, okay? I'm not a cyberneticist, but I would have to read a few books before I tried to work on Data, or in this case, Picard. But Rios, remember that doctor from before? I guess it had some kind of a point. The fact that Rios got injured and had to meet that doctor, because that doctor is tasked to fix Picard, which would never work. But Rios, 7, Raffi get the bright idea to take the ran over body of Picard back to Teresa, and yeah, he's had a few transplants, all of them, and you've shown essentially to a doctor a human robot who is clearly from the future or is clearly an alien. And in the second episode or third episode, we just said, don't go to the hospital. And we ended up at the hospital, and we ended up showing a human doctor in 2024 everything about Android, the Sung method. So we're donezo, basically. We're done here. Like, I don't know how we could mess this up anymore, but they have this idea to do like a reverse mind meld thing into Picard's brain using some kind of Men in Black looking zapper stick thing. If you've ever seen that film, Men in Black, they go, psink, and then they remove your short-term memory so that you forget all about that alien you just saw. Too bad we didn't have that. That might be a good invention if we're going to be doing any more time traveling. Just saying. Maybe they have it on the relativity. Talon is going to use this supervisor device to go into Picard's brain to wake him up from the coma he went into. Teresa's efforts to bring him back to life are ineffectual, as one would assume. And Raffi, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, is a very calm, collected, cautious individual, weighing the risks. Hold on, how do we know what's going to happen when you go in there and do this mind meld, so to speak? What if you mess something up? Raffi says this. Maybe that line was Rios' line, because Raffi has stolen vehicles, snuck a phaser out under a superior officer's command, teleported. No, I thought they were going to teleport him, but they didn't. She disabled a bus full of people with some kind of pulse weapon. Come on, is that Raffi's line? Raffi's not worried about caution. She's throwing caution to the wind. Not now. She's no longer acting cavalier about things. Pun intended, with regards to the car chase. She's acting cautious. Let's not go into Picard's brain. You know what? Let's be careful. Okay, whatever, Raffi. Whatever, I don't know. I guess you just... something happened in the brain. Like, you... too many drugs, maybe? Like, maybe you should have spent some more time in, like, therapy to get over that stuff. Because you're not... you're talking in a way that suggests, like, danger. Okay? Like, it suggests something could go wrong. Okay? So... Raffi has misgivings about doing the one thing we need to do, which is going to go into Picard's brain, and I know Talon is going to go into Picard's brain, and she's just going to find out about all this trauma that Picard has, and holy crap, his dad is evil and almost killed his mom. Oh my gosh. That's next episode. That sounds like Star Trek. Am I right, guys? By the way, Jurati is fully assimilated now, as if that shouldn't have happened the second the Queen touched her. She's fully assimilated now, walking off down the road, probably to just take over the world. So we're just first contacting this shit up. Let's hook me up with some of that first contact bad ending scenario. Hook me up with some of that. That sounds good. Yeah, it's like we're on some kind of Star Trek. Except we're not. This is Star Trek Picard. This episode was short, not fun, told in a visually stylish way, contrary to the plot, which lacked any style. Soong gets away, explains to his daughter that, listen, you're the why of this. I was trying to save your life. So I did something bad. I may have accidentally killed old Picard, but spared Renee Picard. So I failed. I'm just going to walk off now, and I'm going to leave this door unlocked, and you can go look at my computer. You've lived here for 20-some years, probably, and you've never seen my computer. You never used the internet. So Kore, or Core, as I pronounce it, because it's Kore. She goes into Soong's lab. Oh, I'll just search my dad on the internet. Let's just type in Soong. Whoa, he's a secret bad guy. I didn't know. I've never been on the internet until right now. The first thing people do when they get on the internet is like search their own name. And maybe she would search for her dad's name. And then maybe she would learn about her dad's nefarious actions with regard to genetic research. And then she would just open up some videos and files that were just laying on the desktop. And, oh my gosh, I'm not the first daughter. He's had countless quote-unquote daughters or sons or whatever. All failed because of genetic complications. Because guess what? He makes superhumans in his spare time. And there's always something wrong with him, but Q is offering him a way out in return for what? Fixing the future or ruining the future? We don't know. Who's the villain? We're on episode 6, and it's hard to understand who's doing what and why. because our characters have not explained their motivations to each other with regards to Q and old Picard, old JL, as we can refer to him as. Hey, JL, you're doing that thing with your voice again. That's how I know you're lying. I spent 5 minutes with you, basically, and the audience has spent hundreds of episodes with you, so I think they would know, but no, we know better. We've been through thick and thin together. We know better. Characters in this show know better, and the writers know better than 100 and some, whatever, 7 seasons, 20 episodes a pop of TNG. 7 times 20. That's a lot of episodes, and some films too, good and bad. We've been through thick and thin with the old JL. Not Raffi, and certainly not Talon. This episode sounded like garbage. The intro changed a little bit for some reason. I don't know why. Musically, I think. Maybe I'm dreaming. Visually, what's there to say? We're just at a party. There's nothing. The only shining glimmer of hope in this episode was when we looked up and saw the OV-165. That was pretty cool. But it's ruined because they didn't say anything about it. You ask an astronaut going to Europa to describe the OV-165, and she should know everything about it. I know everything about this crap. And I ain't never been to space in 2024. I've never even been there. Hundreds of years later, I know more about it than she did a few years later. Okay? Don't you think that sounds strange? Sounds strange to me. Listen, Renee, are you going to get up there and take that picture together with those astronauts? Yes, I am. Thanks, J.L. Picard, for making me feel like I can be an astronaut again, because I was just about to quit 10 hours or so before launch. I thought I was going to quit, and then this guy shows up, and yeah, okay, I'm gonna be on the ship now. Even though Picard doesn't know it's the right thing to do. Are you sure, Picard, that you want her to find that organism on Europa? Are you sure? What if that's what causes the bad future? Do you know? Do you know for sure? I guess in terms of morality and a philosophical question upon which this episode should orbit, you could take Sung's relationship with his daughter as being that, is it love, or is it a selfish desire to see his project come to fruition? Or are those two the same thing? That's something for you to think about. So it's not completely devoid of thought. Not entirely, anyway. Sung and his actor, Brent Spiner, his performance was good. His interaction with Picard was great. I believe the tension on screen. And I was a little bit afraid when Picard met Sung. I feared for Picard, and I was worried about what Sung might be capable of doing when he is working on behalf of Q, who in this episode is established at least as being the villain or antagonist. I thought it was well played, and there's a little musical sting when Picard meets Sung. It's pretty good. Forgiving the fact that mysteriously Brent Spiner plays Adam Sung, Eric Sung, Data plays Noonien Sung Sr. in TNG, and he plays in the first season he plays Sung's great grandson. Oh my god. Imagine if I looked like my great grandson and my great grandfather and his great grandfather, and one of my great grandsons made a robot that looked exactly like me. That's what I'm supposed to believe with Brent Spiner and playing the Sung family, okay? I'll believe it once or twice, just because I know acting, it can get expensive, you can't really get different actors all the time, and you just gotta go with what you got, and I'll accept it a few times. I accepted it in TNG when he played, like, Lore, and also Noonien Sung, the creator of Data. in that one episode. That's fine. And then he played Soong from the 22nd Century in season 4, I think, of Star Trek Enterprise. And that was pushing it a little bit, but the cameo appearance was fun. Kind of accept it. But now in Picard, he's playing 2 different people, different person from season 1 and in season 2, and he's probably going to be in season 3. It's getting a little, little weird. Also, the actress portraying both Daj and Soji in season 1 is now portraying Kore. So we know that Kore was created by Adam Soong, who, and then his great grandson or something would create Data, and then Data would create. No, he didn't. Data was cloned by Maddox or Soong in that timeline, and then he was cloned into Soji, but then Soji had 2 other identical sisters living on android planet, and she plays 4 different versions of herself or something, and I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this family. Why do they all look the same? It's getting a little weird for me. I'm getting a little bit weirded out. So, visuals, trash, music trash, plot, at least it moved forward a little bit. Philosophy, it's better than absolutely nothing. It's a little bit better than it's a little bit better than getting into a car accident. I'll say that, because there was a quote-unquote car accident, if you count running over somebody in cold blood as a car accident in this episode. That was Star Trek Picard, Season 2, Episode 6, 2 of 1. I'm not going to give it a 2 or 1. I'm going to give it a little bit better than half. It's a tiny little bit better than watching nothing at all. So that's why I'm going 5.5. I'll take it over the last few, but it's nothing compared to the first one. How did we get it so right in the first episode? Oh yeah, we ran out of money, and then we had to just go back in time and just make up a bunch of garbage. So that's what happened. And also Picard is a strange Soong-type android zombie robot who can get killed by a car. So we made a robot intentionally weak, and then whatever. But he also bleeds, and it's just a bad idea. It's just a bad idea. Star Trek Picard itself is a bad idea. Okay? That's it. I'm out. I'm getting out of here. And I'll see you guys next time. Okay? Alright? Goodbye.